We're in the next part. Please go check out the previous part to gauge your bearings. I tarried from English, but whatever, it is what it is. I did not yet tell you the vision that God gave me. South Africans, I'm busy out here rebuking South Africans, and in particular Black South Africans. So if you speak, what is this? If you don't speak my languages, guys, I apologize, really, I do. But you don't even need to hear this anyway if you don't speak my languages, because I'm speaking to Black people in South Africa in particular. So really and truly, everybody else, next video that I do, it'll be all in English and you will hear what I'm trying to say. I'm busy out here rebuking some pretty nefarious South Africans in the Black community that have destroyed the country, and they think, well, this is still a going concern. I don't know why you think this is still a going concern. I had a vision. Women, especially Lona Lindsay Bisling, ignore go DM space. I did not go in your contact. Yoglanda lao mondi za khona bese nya bring her down as a bird ka keti. Ebe ke re bua le nna nthuse etle. Aka go bitsa kwena ho me o timeng in my life. How ka mo bo timemolla. Timemolleng. Tswang mo nna mara very permanently. I ke sa bias ke themselves na ka ofela. I ke sa tlo responda. Ke re go Facebook, ke re go Gmail, ke re go ha in my blog. As soon as I feel like ke bona lebitso le tlo borang le tlhapetsweng la Setswana, ke tswile mo lona la nkutlo. Anyway, the vision that I had just before coming to do this message, herein lies that vision, so that you can understand I need to get out of South Africa. Maranga se hono ho tswa na because hona le some maritanyana, because there's some good Samaritan in these streets that has made a decision to help me along, even though I'm poor. Everybody knows that other countries hate the poor belonging to other countries. Please don't move to another country. You're gonna get treated like a second-class citizen. Although you're gonna end up like flipping burgers at some fast food restaurant, being spoken to like you're trash, even though you were like a whole thriving big graduate in your country that was well respected. So unless you are Elon Musk, don't go to America, please. Unless you are Tyler, don't go to America. Unless you have got to already have clout where you're coming from for you to be treated well in a foreign country. So seeing as I'm trying to go to a foreign country, wherever that foreign country might be, seeing as I gotta get my act together, meaning I gotta grow my channel, meaning I gotta keep encouraged to push despite all these resistances of my person, despite how much people are trying to prevent me from getting to where I need to get. It's very hard to do it when you've just been brokenhearted by some irresponsible miscreant on the internet that saw it fit to entertain you for 5 days and then just suddenly stop writing you. I keep right now. Genuine, good, hearty, well felt, feel good girl conversation. You know, black chicks now but in nonsense, man. You all know how black girls can be. But it's like a khas activity. In other words, what is like a ghosting? We're taking 1 minute. Black girls got vibes for days, and they think they've arrived. I'm not gonna say black girls go fela. I'm pretty sure it's black South African girls, because I've had foreign friends and they're not like South African women. So please, like, y'all need to get over yourselves. It's that basic. Like, South African women, y'all stink. Your attitude freaking stinks. In comparison to the rest of Africa, you don't know how to act. So I get to on top of it. But let's just move on. The vision that I had, Lona, Basadi Bamo South Africa, that are giving me all this grief, black women in particular, please, let's just put that out there. Let us put it out there. It's not anybody else. It's a black girl problem. Bening lagata loyana, I get to work in Kalona, waiting y'all stank, and Gardieta. That's sport that you've been sweating in. How do you apple the whole room smells? That's how much your attitude stinks, black chicks. I kid you not, it's bad. And it's bad. Even when you call yourselves Christians, you still smell like shoes. Bad, stuffy shoes that you've been sweating in because you've been running the athletics patch, doing rounds, laps for 2 hours. And then you just take them off in a room, window, and it just starts to stink. That's what your attitude is like, black women. South Africa, because I can't really vouch for women from other countries, because that would be unfair. Let that way. I get to begin anymore. I'm not gonna deal with nonsense that you just come packaged with anymore. Do you understand? I'm done. Mar, before ke le tlhalosetsa hore ke feditse ga kakang, No, that I've already done. Let me explain to you what vision I had just now before coming here. God showing me black girl that have done this to you. They have left you at the mercy of these men. Yes, like it, but this guy in America, I get to like why is y'all like so much war? Like I'm in the front lines of battle. Front lines. And I'm gonna support. Yeah, man. Oh, God have mercy. Some desperate little beast. America is all up in my grill. And he's not the only one, Mara. He's the most poignant one. And it's running with some of these other people. Bafila determined for me because I've been talking about this for a minute. Like black women, the only reason why black men are as filthy as they are sometimes is because you've given them a pedestal to do whatever random rubbish they want to do with no consequences and without you putting your foot down about what you expect. And so for those reasons, the prostitute, even though but anyway, I had a vision. I'm distracted right now, as you can tell. I'm looking up there because I'm doing edits, and then opposite, and I get Satan and not get behind me. But anyway, I'm just very exhausted. In this vision, I saw yo, I feel like everything ke batla ho le shaba mo matlhong hore le tlo bona hore ke sira se hakakang ke se ke re a ke hlale. This is not the dippa parties. Re ke pause feeling jayang bora ke batla ho fetsa this thing. Why mara yo, like fine, as in let this computer do what it wants to do. Ing ke nako ya yona, ing tshengetse nako, ing phrase, ing tatlhele against a wall and beat me black and blue because it thinks this is love in the brain. I just let it do whatever it wants to do. I don't wait, but nah guys, hage up for grabs. Mutagwa America are nna ke bua ka ena nkaro desperate, and I'm like obutitle tlhalosa this. I say act that desperation no ntso lateletse mosadi morago nkare ke mogatla 2 years yo yotlhe o mo lateletse morago. Hey, hankutlutlwa bariele ho right ha tlhaloganye even our languages. A ke tsebo rona na ro tlolwana le nna jwang o tlolwana le nna jwang a sa itse go bua Setswana. Nna nka se mo gone motho ka segoa ntwa ka ofela e feletse nka se gone mara wang twans ka segoa no ga le sa accent ele ya kwa America wang bora. It doesn't have power, haina impact. Mara anyway, mothako o believer o tlellang ne. Just listen, he believes. Not believes like from what the Holy Spirit feeling the way ke buang ka yena ka teng. First of all, ha motho a go bua ga botlhoko ga kana mo ministering ya gage a nare go bane o ntse o tuna in wanzo mamets. Yes, like it waits go tawa. Mara that's the thing about batho ba nne ba tsubile di occult. I get le rata flaka ya lona ya Satan le nentse le business na fa di line 24 hours ka ofela ya fitla ya tsamaya. O sentse le busy wena on a line ga o a robala the wenzo le hae ka teng ka Satan la chanta la granta janong ga go le jalo ha o tlo gona go nagana. You're not going to be able to see Granshapo, your right from your left. You're not going to be able to continue to walk ahead in a straight line because otawe I go tsubile matekwana Satan ga go le jalo janong ke yo motha go wa kwa America o tsubile matekwana ene ntho e mo fang brava no ke le taba ya gore ke telwa ke di tshirinyana tsa mo mzansi di busy ding tumba ka di DM ha ka mo motho o tlong gira ka mzimba ke right ene ba banga ga ke sho lo re ke tshiri o re ke outi o re dintshang because go gender neutral conversation. Next thing motho o nyametse we tsikeng tsamayang shianang ne jaka sefofane just fly leave phumani phele nna tswang monna kopa le tsweng monna ne kopa le tsweng mo menaiza a ke sa bias kelem not that khale a ke so ka ke se baya Gransha mara it appears I have to keep on coming here to make it clear hore a ke se bias kelem because people don't trust me. They don't believe it when I say nna ke done ke feditse go fedile ga go sana anymore conversation. This is the conclusion, sealed ke full stop etle mothako o ditjwetsa hore nna ntshotse ke buang ka yena on the internet are nna ke bua ka yena nkare o desperate. She thinks I'm desperate ka se go aselesa kwa America ibile ngwa bora ka accent ka tweng. She thinks I'm desperate. Batho go butus ka tlong bora he batho. This guy, it's like it's 2 years later. Cherry utsule mo wena. Why do you not recognize that by mere virtue of even having access to my food, just having understanding of what I recently spoke in my ministry, why does that not make you realize ukuthi vele we that desperado? You are desperate. Like, it's clear. It's clear. Because 2 years later, you're still stalking a woman on the internet and you want her high and low. Bugger, you are desperate. Mara o naive, and I've been subjugated to the tyranny of your thing is problematic because of the fact that another dikaibo girl, another dikaibo company, another bagaibo people, Bamomzans, Kimon like it 2 years ago fela entse feta efofa jaka nyonyane indiza it's a whole nyoni. It's flying 2 years yonke, giving itself matla like Nelly Furtado. I'm like a bird yafofa 2 years ago fela. Batho ba mo Mzansi Africa ba ntse ba ntebelletse nna ke tumpwa ka ditlhare ke monna o tauweng o feelang nka re nna ke mo accuser of desperation, even though 2 years later since na le busy ang bugile. Wa itse keng bo taken chicken utlwelang lo le mala ga botlhoko gampe nka re le tumpilwe ka matla pa di bricks, stones, boulders. Le utlwile bo e bathong ko lo le mala ga botlhoko gampe lo le mala lebele le mali ha hona motho ratang ho loywa guys. Lona ba re guys now I'm tired. Wait again. Ha ona motho o batlang go loya. Jaka ga le loya ga kana anare why let's I expect or what goes around or comes around. Okay, so maybe karma is not biblical, mara what's definitely biblical is that you reap what you sow. So long story short, what goes around does come around. You reap what you sow. So jaka ga le loya ga kana. Nizmisela ngantoni guys. Mina ngifuna ukutlhaloganya that thing. Likemisitse eng jaka ha le loya ga botlhoko ga kana mo strateng di colleague nja ka tse o swa ga go monyane lo motona ke eng e kana ele expectileng. I need to know, I need to tlhaloganya because ha eba wena o ka ba sefofane se se kana mo matlong a batho masi hu bona ba sa bone because you've made yourself invisible. Singers wa loya ke re o tau why also comprehend or somebody might walk up in your house lena atiketse sefofane in your house, invisible, astral projecting and everything. Alo tsaya something ya gago. Then again, you feeling that you can vigela yourselves ka matswa alona ke leta we go fela ha le kopane. While is anticipate hore lo ripa ntho le so wileng ha ona motho batlang ho loya. If wena o tshiri ya go nna ntse o jesa monna o ka se rate monna teng a go jesitsang ke ha le batlo go ba di Bonnie and Clyde pair. You don't want to be partners in crime because you want to be the only one manipulating moto because you're megalomaniacal. You are super duper controlling. That's what's good. Jaga ha ole super controlling ga kana o lo foster monna o yore alo go nyala. Weekends yemi ala day. Like tseba pina ele yemi ala day. See me see trouble when you go marry me yo. See me see trouble you going to marry me yo. See, we've been dating for many years now. You want to leave me for lobola. See me see trouble. You go marry me, oh. Today. The pressurizer bo abuti hore balo lenyala. Balo bear ring on it. Cause when you think you're Beyonce, u feel like o arrivile. U busy wa ho o batla ring. Mara mothago o busy ntsa blomile 5 years yo yotle gantsi ring. That's the thing shelo kare this recreational dating ya lona ya le tumpa. La jola rafra mo strateng 5 years ka fela o blomile le monna a sonya a go nyale for eng. It's cause la rata tlof you can't see, you can't stop. If you had actually consecrated yourselves to God and not fornicated and all that jazz, let out timenye gi blome 5 years yonke now nje just sitting around gathering dust like a tumbleweed in the desert. I can't see anything other than just roll around in your life. Yo manje wena cause ufra you are just singing him today when are you gonna marry me? When you go marry me? And out of desperation, no bono molatela something, cause you that megalomaniacal chick. I no blom. I no em. The thing, o jolelang nje fela rafra for the sake of it. Got off on top of it. Unzo fa monna, o sing monna ga go bana. Unzo mo pegela di papa for eng. Anyway, this is not that discussion. Marali busy ga dating. Next thing you are just making a man marry you. Batho, you will reap what you sow. La so at discordo, you cause the guy who ask by any other woman. The dude is out using you as a placeholder. Ufilanga rena there's something out there better for him. Ebe wena lo mo trepa ka lenyalo lo le man. Wait again gokotsi di teng. Kitsi mara y'all don't see things that way. Halibone things in that particular regard. So jaanong go le tlhalosetsa hore modimo o mpontshitse eng. I get le batla ba the only ones out here ba ntse ba tumpang banna ka di something. You want to be the only ones out there listening ujabu. You want ukutu jabu abe with spirals and a squint in his eyes. Magakbona guvela ama hearts. I'm a heart. Di pelo di busy ntse di bita pu mo pelong ya jabu yena ha bona hore grandshap o jisitswe ngwana batho ebe o expect gore jabu ena se moloi ana re jabu king e kana e mo etsa gore yena a ska ba moloi. I get Mudimu has this thing that he does where it is that he pairs people nicely, beautifully together. That's just the thing. Like the reason why banna ba bataweng ba tsubileng matekwane a santane bang batla high and low gakana is because they've gotten to prove ora ke di type tsa loy. Ba tsebo rona ga go ba jesa guys banna ba tshaba di cherry tse jesang. E re ke le tlhalosetseng ne. There's a story grandship from back in the day. My ex-boyfriend, when him and I used to date, there was a friend of his, one such Jezebel female. Girlfriend there, this guy, busy guy in a high and low. Busiku, he would sometimes wake up, the horror stories. He would come and tell us the horror stories. And because we thought it was funny at the time, until I got born again and realized, no, it was actually very serious. Situation near that guy, and they live very, very, very serious. Ultimately, they did break up, but not before. I can't say what that guy went saying, but more than anything, I think that chick found a richer guy, and that's why she was willing to let him go. Mara una moving like no man's business. Una sebeta on that guy like no man's business. Busi, who sometimes this guy, one story he told that my ex relayed to me was that he was sleeping Busihu and Papa Ma. You know, like when you change your body around to shuffle in bed at night while you're sleeping, and then you slightly open your eyes only to close them again. Ari, he did that, woke up and just to change direction. Mompetong cherry guy moshebile so apapame atlame amotonnetse matlo, just staring, gawking at him. Batho maharanga busi, who could have been like what 2-3 a.m. in the morning, and the guy jumped or something. Because I mean really I'm twa go tonetse matlo ga kana bosihung bo bokana o ka se tshoga o ka sena le gore ke tikoloshi a ghost something nyana it's hosang that's what's good. Yeah, so this guy on a taba girlfriend that thing, he was so scared of his girlfriend because he knew lo muntu moving being a meet ona le something a yetsang le go filibiri this woman amo sevang ka yona ona I check na gona le royal food taster ra montlong mol if he could get one ona tlo e cry. This guy was scared of his girlfriend. Yeah, like the kind of woman that's like Lynn Whitfield in Thin Line Between Love and Hate. You know, the one with Martin Lawrence. Scared of a lady because she might just kill you. Yeah. Amadoda bawafuna bothike nabadlisayo. Ababa batle basadi ba loyang because batshosa. Musadi otsosang, musadi loyang watsosa guys. Otsosa even more than monna oloyang. Watsosa. A liver hexy is scary. Do you understand? Gao fela bo autiba ba boyfang di cherry. Bagata balaya bo girl. They like running away from these women, these women that are very cunning, manipulative. They are hard knock, double standarded. Cruella lili. Any good thing in these streets. They're scared of women like those. When a woman cannot keep her hand off the cauldron, stirring it up, constantly sprinkling stuff on a man, men try to avoid them if they can. But the thing about these women is they're clandestine, so they keep it under wraps and they use all of these things as some kind of an inducer of lust, much like pheromones. And so these guys just can't help but resist, but they're scared of them because who is not scared of a witch? Busy going. My ex's boy was scared of his girl because and it took a minute for him to finally get out of that. That's what's good. So some of these buggers are out here holding on to me for dear life, imaginative that ultimately I'm going to get into their lives. Why? Because in the middle of a trance, because it's a ritual. She's out just spilling incantations over a man that's sleeping. To find me doing that. They know they're not going to wake up at 2-3 a.m. in the morning with me walking around strangely in the house. They know that they're not going to have to be scared of me because obviously I'm holding on to no one but Jesu Christ. In other words, I can mixi. I'm not mixing Jesus with all this other nasty stuff. For those reasons, they are scared of you, Nina, in Tagatai. Kodwa, lazy. It's not that basaba abotegeni just cause baya tagata. It's cause baya azikrecha pugutu tagati wenza what? Because in and of themselves they're involved in it. So you get a guy that's also doing some strange things to his woman, and the woman is doing strange things to him. Consult to ask, is there something I enzil? The girlfriend is always like, what's my boyfriend doing? Is there something he's doing? Blah blah blah. Whoa, like everybody is a little witch, and I had a vision of me, basically, right? Nina Nkabanga Uguti, like I said, witches are selfish for their witchcraft. They want to be the only ones practicing. They don't expect that the whole community is going to be involved in this stuff. because then I guess they're not unique and somebody can actually stand against their darkness. You get my point? Yeah. Somebody can actually do the same thing to them. Somebody can throw a little bit of a hand grenade back at them when it is thrown into their own courtyards. Another person can plant landmines in their households to make sure that their feet get blown off or whatever. Yeah. They would love to be the only ones practicing because they feel like they have found the secret to all of the world's power. But fortunately for them, and unfortunately for them too, there are so many of them practicing, so many that sometimes they can't help but meet each other. But understand, they don't like each other because in and of themselves they know that this thing that they're doing is evil. It's nefarious, it's dark, and it's manipulative. It forces people to do things they don't want to do. It gives people insight into things that were done in the dark that they don't want exposed. They don't like it when other people are into the craft. So God punishes them. He handles them by putting them in each other's lives. There's some guy at MTN that I used to think was my future husband. Ended up going to go and marry some other female. And he was like all hard knocking involved in practicing. He pulled stunts against me and I would imagine many other people. And he ended up marrying a woman that he thought was a Christian and a whole pious lady that would never touch sorcery. He chose her precisely because he thought she was another version of me. Instead, unali busy kayen. Umuisitse le Bamo. Alo pata diaparo tsa mosadi mo mokoting near a river of sorts to represent a woman that this man would have any feelings for. Buried in a well. I had a dream of that nature. This woman was told by her sangoma, go and bury female paraphernalia a river. And so whatever woman that this man is looking at with affection will be as buried from his eyes, his heart, his affections, his anything at all, just as those clothes are, just as that paraphernalia, that lipstick is. I've already told you that story. He did not know that this woman did that to him. But at the same time, it's like, but you were doing that to other people. You were doing that to other people. From what I saw, he did not do anything to her spiritually. He did not feel it necessary to manipulate her because she was already in his bag. But she was busy with him. Did not even know that he was even lured into her ecosystem by all of her sorcery. He thought he met a good girl in church, but instead he met a witch that made sure that the woman that he is in love with, he's going to seasonally forget about her. Seasonally forget about her because she's going to be buried in a river somewhere. It was not diaparo tsaka ka nnete, but she was told to go and buy any female paraphernalia, di kwai, di lipstick, di pili, and just bury them at this well, and that will represent how buried from his side that particular woman that he actually holds the affections of, and vice versa, she will be from his side. So the very kind of woman that men fear. And that guy got a woman that put him in a pot and stirred. Because he put me in a pot and stirred, didn't he? So they found each other. God made sure that they married each other. God saw to it that they came together because he was not about to let his daughter marry some random beast wa Boloi. So I had a vision before I came here to talk, just when I was having, qualms within about how terrible all of the spiritual manipulation of our persons is, and all of these irresponsibilities on the part of people that won't leave other human beings alone to just live and thrive, and all that jazz, and all of these people that keep on giving me grief, basadi bana, that contact me on the DM space or at least on email, whatever, that then after Njefela 2 conversations and they freaking ghosted me. People Njefela that are acting all these fools, thinking Orobona they can conceal themselves but they protect in their own little personal capacities while also giving a true child of God grief. And the thing, they're giving a true child of God grief because they're manifesting and they can't stand the presence of the Holy Spirit, meaning that they effectively ward off every true spirit-filled person. Women, you keep praying to Jesus for a husband. Marlaloi, if at all you are a witch and you want a Christian husband, you are naive. And the reason why you're naive is because you might meet a Christian man that might actually like you because he thinks you are Christian because he met you at church and you are that serving girl or Asha or you're in the choir. But you are going to be repelled by his Holy Spirit And so just as you pulled away from me in the DM space, some of these people, I wasn't even sure if it was males or females. You pull away from me in the email space. You don't respond to emails. The thing that made you ward off me is the very thing that's going to make you unable to sit in the presence of a man you actually have a crush on. You're not going to be able to take it because there is potential to be saved by the power of God in that person if you actually stuck around. And so just the prospect of deliverance at all is so daunting to the entities inside you that they will cause you to do something that's going to turn this guy off so badly that he will not try to go on a second date. Like, you need to understand, you are naive when you keep on praying to God for a husband. But ubizika witchcraft. He is going to protect his servants. His Christians are going to gauge your behavior as, goodness, she was so rude. Goodness, he was so mean. But that was God warding you off from them that they don't end up with you. I don't know how many times it's happened with me, and it's going to happen with ungodly women too. It's been happening with ungodly women too, where it is that when you want a God-fearing man, honey, you cannot get a God-fearing man when you are into sorcery. You will be rude. You will be made to manifest the very thing he hates in women. You will be made to do things that he can't stand when women go out like that. He is going to be frustrated by you, even if he also had a crush. He will be disappointed, hurt, have to go back to the drawing board, start again from scratch, go back to looking. He will be hurt, and he will not know whether he's coming or going. He will feel disillusioned, and God will tell him. He will feel to God like, but like, how long? Why do I have to keep on hitting these brick walls? Meanwhile, he would not have seen that Granshapi was protected from ending up with whatever beastly female you are. You can't have your bread buttered on both sides, witches. You can't get a godly husband when you're a witch, witches. You can't. The poor thing, in his Holy Spirit, you are gonna manifest lenyoga inside your body, and it's gonna be rude, just as you were rude to me. You can't be friends with godly women, and you can't be wives to godly men. It's that basic. Stop doing witchcraft and expecting to get the best of things in life. There is no such thing. Stop it. Allow yourselves to be discouraged from this tool of ill-gotten gain. I want it and I want it now. Behavior. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Acting like a little Spice Girl. Relax. Mature. Make yourselves actual believers, because at this point, you are facing, never mind hellfire, but severity of disappointment. Now let's go into the vision. Here it is that I am being pursued by all of these satanic men in the climate of all of this mistreatment of my person by women. And I'm feeling all sad about it. And God gives me a vision. And guess what in the vision there was? I was newly married in that vision. And I was in a garage of the house that my husband and I were moving into. And I was unpacking the garage. I was unpacking the boxes. My husband was not there though. It's almost as if though he had gone to the store to get something. And I was unpacking boxes. And in the box, in one of the boxes that I was unpacking, I then found occult paraphernalia. That was a vision. Like, it all happened in a vision. It was all within like just a matter of seconds. It came and went. I was unpacking boxes and I understood myself to be married. And I was unpacking boxes in my husband and I's house in a garage. Open one of the boxes. And there were all these, like, one thing I saw for a fact was a pink, that thing that people used to blow habli, like to smoke habli in, like, yeah, like a pink habli, but it's not for habli. The habli one is tall, but that other one, it's kind of like it's a transparent, yeah. And then they put something, they like burn a thing, and then they blow into it, or they inhale. I don't know what they call it. Okay, yeah, something like that. That was in there, and I saw a what you call this, like, like a broom. It's not a broom, it's a whip. It's like a cat, not a cat tail, but a horse tail, like, this thing that these sangomas go and they whip themselves with it at the back. Yeah, that thing, but it was small. It was like a mini one that was in there just sitting. And then there was some like or like rods, like some kind of herbs that were tied in a rope, basically what looked like occult paraphernalia in a box. And my heart sank. So basically the whole scope of the vision is this. I'm newly married. My husband is not there though. I'm in the garage. I'm unpacking boxes. I open one of the boxes and then I find his occult paraphernalia, and then my heart sinks. The moral of that vision being, women are about to enter into marriages with men they thought were godly, and they will find out literally fresh back from honeymoon that they married themselves. In that dream, I was obviously not me, because there's no way I would ever end up with a man that would disappoint the living daylights out of me like that. Where it is that I'd be all excited, I'm a newlywed, and then I find out on the day that I'm unpacking boxes in our new house that my husband is actually involved in this stuff. How do you even begin to deal with it? How do you even begin to address the matter? How do you even highlight that, but you're supposed to be Christian, when in and of yourself you're involved in this stuff? Like, the guy moved and did not expect that you would find his box of occult paraphernalia, so he's just a self-practicing rando. And every so often, yeah. Y'all are about to find out that you did not get what you asked for from God, because you're not godly. Personally, you cannot expect, as an occult practitioner, not to have God trick you into marrying Leah, just like the case with Jacob. You know how it is that he wanted Rachel, and then the dad tricked him into marrying Leah. And he was shocked in the morning that, but you're not Rachel? Yeah, you're about to find yourselves with Leah and not Rachel. You cannot have your bread buttered on both sides. The guy in America wanted me. I was his Rachel. And he tried for the life of him to bring me into Impilo Yakhe, but my father tricked him. And he ended up, well, he did not end up with, like, he did marry 2 Leahs. He's like, hey, this guy's like twice divorced, blah, blah. His stats are really whack. But over and above it, he was HIV positive. He was just naive, that guy. He was entirely naive. But he was trying to bank a woman, do you understand what I'm saying, that has been set apart for somebody else, consecrated to be somebody else's one day. And they want us, these men, they want godly women. I will highlight this again. Ungodly men do not like witch women. No man likes a witch woman. No man wants a woman that's manipulating his life, just obsessed with just fixing matches in the relationship. But sometimes these men who don't want these witchy throws in and of themselves by a tagat. So manje ndoda, if when we are tagata, you are going to find a woman that will have tagata you like that. And I already know of a guy. What's up? We're in the second part, and I already told you that I already know a guy. I already know of a guy that whose wife, the woman who he ultimately married, brought him in kadikar. He should, like, hard knock, like, yeah. You will find out, shocked, and it will likely be like shortly after you get married. From what I saw, it was just unpacking boxes and everything. So we had just moved into the house in that dream. The guy from South Africa, the one that I used to think was my husband, that married the woman that buried all of my like pseudo paraphernalia at a river. Yeah, from what the Lord showed me, on his wedding night, he was expecting a virtuous bride, and she came out with some dominatrix outfit, like whips and everything, like fishnet stockings and everything. Yeah, she came out to him like with that kind of sensual, that dark sensuality on their wedding night, and he was turned off because he was expecting a godly bride. He was expecting a godly bride. He was expecting a godly wedding night with a godly woman, and so did not anticipate somebody rocking a heel that big with fishnet stockings and some spandex and she rocked up looking like that. And he was like, but this is supposed to be a wedding night with an apparent virgin-like woman, and she's out here pulling like random nasty porn site antics on me. You will discover on your wedding night. You will discover just back from honeymoon. You will discover literally shortly afterwards. It won't even be years in a marriage where you've been going to church with a man and the two of, and you imagine that you basically are in a godly relationship. No. From what I saw in that vision, it is a discovery of all of their darkness just after getting married. Because in the run-up to you getting married to that guy, you dared mock God and practice dark arts while claiming to be a Christian, and then ask him to give you a godly husband. You dared do that. The audacity. It is brazen, and yet you did it. That's what that vision was. So carry on doing what you want to do. But as for South Africa, the amount of darkness in this place, I can't. I am so beleaguered right now. I'm so afflicted. I can't. I want to leave, but I can't. There's just a lot in Etuleng. But God, if at all he does not rapture the church, understand he's going to take me out of this land. I'm going to go. So I'm trying to build my channel. And people are coming against it. They're trying to freeze it again. They're trying to make me go nowhere again. They're trying to do exactly what they've been doing all along. And I've got some mongrel in America saying, this chick thinks I'm desperate. Duh, you are, bugger. You are desperate. You are. Because why are you still watching me 2 years after I've told you get out of my face? Why are you still following my ministry? You are desperate. You are obsessed. You are addicted. You are a creep. You are a psychopath. You are a weirdo. It's what you are. And as for all these South African men and women, I imagine it's largely women. With all of y'all ghosting of me, I've come up with a rule. I've made a decision. I'm not going to respond to all of your DMs. I don't care what you have to say. I'm just going to ignore you. Get self-delivered. Get self-delivered. Get born again. If you don't want to end up with some dude that's going to be that you're going to be opening up the occult paraphernalia box of 3 days after getting married, you will get saved. No witch wants witches in their lives. It's weird like that. They're these weird little selfish randos that don't want people like them in their lives. But God is going to put y'all in each other's lives because you are so good at pretending to be Christian. You are so good. Yes, like some of the emails that I get from these people, you will read that thing, it sounds like a thesis done by John MacArthur, and yet the person is involved in darkness. They sound so Christian. And so because you were so good at acting Christian, you of course attracted someone that wanted a Christian too, just as these men want me desperately because I'm Christian. But you speak good Christianese, like a theologian that's not saved. But you don't know God. And there's a man that's going to want you and marry you that's going to speak just like you. And both of y'all going to be these lost randos finding each other's occult paraphernalia in the house. And so you're going to have bitterness from the very beginning of a marriage that you hoped you were going to escape or get away with the husband of some Christian woman as an occult beastly female, and vice versa. Thinking you're going to be out just stealing a woman from a man. Meanwhile, God gave you each other. I've told you my piece. Pumegini, black chicks in South Africa. Bonewo, angisakhulumi nani grand, ne? Grand. Ambani nyozi deliver. Ambani yophuza Holy Spirit. Satan. And then maybe once I'm living in another country, when you write me, I respond because how long tell like a dafer. Mara while I'm still in your borders, a prophet ain't got no honor in his own hometown. Niyangi delela njenge bogat in 1995. Angi spice kelemsenu anymore. Angsazo responda mina. Kwama DM enu abolile aphuma ngenyonga ngama tongues wenyonga with eyes zenyonga. Everything nje is just a snake. Ngigrand ngani. Niyathakatha lidzubile matekwane, lidzubile sniffy sa satane, le high like no man's business on the supply of Beelzebub. And so for those reasons, litella bazalwane like no man's business, jaga bogat. Pumegin, watch this space, angizo responda nyonziba njengoma ningzibile. Peace.